Jigglypuff is an interesting Pokemon to say the least, but the involvement of Jigglypuff to the plot of the anime seems very minuscule. This does slightly irritate me, so I decided to look into the puff closely. And I think I have come up with a very fascinating theory that might change the way people see the balloon Pokemon entirely. I can already see your doubts, but worry not, my dear friend. Allow me to elaborate. But in order to talk about Jigglypuff, we must first look at its natural enemy, Clefairy. Clefairies are incredibly smart Pokemon that are also aliens. But believe it or not, this isn't even close to the weirder things that take place in this weird show. So Clefairies evolve using the moonstones into their ultimate form and uses UFOs to travel. There are also stories about how they are from the moon, so it's fair to come to the conclusion that they are in fact aliens. Now, how does that relate to Jigglypuff, you must be wondering? It didn't, at least not until Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where we get to witness the magnificent Screamtail, who is an extremely ancient ancestor of Jigglypuff. As soon as this creature was discovered, people were quick to point out the similarities it has to Clefairy. Granted, these are simple aesthetic similarities, but when you consider the fact that Jigglypuff also needs a moonstone to evolve into Wigglytuff, the similarities only begin to pile up. Jigglypuff and Clefairy are both OG Pokemons who were later revealed to be fairy types. So I believe there are enough evidence to come to the conclusion that Clefairy and Jigglypuff share a common ancestor in Screamtail. That's a neat little detail, right? But that is only the beginning, because now we are about to go into the weirder stuff. Let's talk about the episode The Ancient Puzzle of Pokemopolis. In this weird episode, a giant Gengar and Alakazam are summoned through well, through ancient relics.
Stop them! How can we stop them if the Pokemopolitans couldn't? These two creatures destroyed the city of Pokemopolis and now they're going to destroy us! I'm sorry, this is all my fault. I should never have tried to solve the mystery of Pokemopolis.
And their unending battle threatens to destroy the entire world. How does our heroes stop them? Well, they don't.
We can't give up now! But Ash, the tablets say nobody knows the secret to stopping these creatures from destroying everything!
They just watch on as the apocalypse grew closer and closer to them, until the stalker Jigglypuff decided to try and soothe these giants. But its noble attempts fall short and it is blown away. Now our heroes stare on not only at their impending doom, but the impending doom of all Pokemon and human beings. But what happens next? A random giant Jigglypuff appears, stops their fighting by putting them and our heroes to sleep. This giant Jigglypuff is one of the most mysterious things to ever happen in Pokemon history. It's never expanded upon, but when you look closely at the giant Jigglypuff, you can see similarities to the Stalker Puff. It is surprised by its own ability to put people to sleep. It dislikes people falling asleep while it is singing, and it draws on faces. So either a random ancient god Jigglypuff appeared, or, now hear me out, the Stalker Puff was transformed into the towering Puff. And this possibility made me have a horrific realization. Jigglypuff and Clefairy's share a common ancestor, which means during a certain time period there were no Jigglypuffs or Clefairies. Now you need to understand this is even before human beings existed. Instead of Clefairies and Jigglypuffs, there were Screamtails. These Screamtails kept growing smarter and smarter, and they begin to form a majestic civilization. But unlike regular civilizations that develop weaponry to assert dominance, the Screamtails genetically modified some of their own kind with the ability to exponentially increase in size and become weapons of mass destruction. The ones capable of doing this would naturally rule over the rest. So the mischievous genetic engineers and the ones that could not grow larger declawed and limited the mental capacity of the screamtails that could transform, while the other genetic engineering screamtails kept their intelligence and claws. The ones that grew were stripped of their claws and their and most of their sentience. They were still able to act like the Jigglypuffs we know now. The childish weapons of mass destruction were kept that way, and they were named Jigglypuffs, while the Screamtails that didn't change themselves evolved into more and more humanoid creatures and eventually became Clefairies. And personally, I believe that a Clefairy felt threatened by the battle between the giant Alakazam and Gengar and activated the Stalker Puff. This also explains why Jigglypuffs are immature and careless.
Objection!
That's just Attack on Titan, I hear you saying. But to that, I will respond with the best response to ever be deployed by the star of the hit movie Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's just a theory.
Thank you for watching.